at a business in the 5400 block.
We have breaking news in the shooting last Friday at a Family Dollar store in Austin that killed a security guard.
He's been identified as 43-year-old Lois Wright. Chicago police holding this news conference now to update us. Let's listen in.
Because of the courageous efforts of the Chicago police officers and detectives, 36-year-old Roderick O'Neal has been charged with 1 felony count of first-degree murder, 1 felony count of murder, 2 felony counts of attempted first-degree murder, 3 felony counts of aggravated battery against a police officer, 6 misdemeanor counts of resisting, obstructing a police officer, and 2 issuances of a warrant. I want to extend our deepest condolences to the family of the 43-year-old victim. He was simply at the store doing his job when his life was tragically taken from him. This was truly a department-wide effort to apprehend this suspect, from the patrol division to the detectives and to the Bureau of Counterterrorism. They all did what they could to bring justice to this case and the victim's family. They also removed, and remember, this is an extremely important point, they also removed an extremely violent individual from our streets. There's no doubt in my mind, if the Chicago Police Department, the Detective Division, had not acted so swiftly, this individual would have acted out viciously again, and we would have had more victims. The detectives who wasted no time in identifying this offender. I also want to thank the Homicide Investigative Support Team and the 15th District officers for their courage. They did surveillance knowing that they were coming in contact with a very, very violent offender. They put their lives, they put themselves at risk to do this surveillance to apprehend this individual. I just want everyone to keep in mind right now, again, I'd really like to highlight the work of these men and women who are standing here to my left, the hard work that they're doing out there to keep the city safe and to hold violent offenders accountable. They work every day to do this, and quite oftentimes they don't get the credit for it, they're not recognized for it, and I want to make sure that they get the recognition for the work that they're doing, and we want everyone in the city to know that we're working as hard as we can to keep this city safe and to reduce the number of victims of violent crime in this city. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Chief Ursitti, who is going to provide an overview of the investigation for you. Chief Ursitti.
Good afternoon. Antoinette Ursitti, Chief, Bureau of Detectives. Immediately after this shooting occurred, our detectives began collecting evidence and witness statements in pursuit of the offender. Of note is the role of our Area 4 Area Technology Center, which at the earliest points of this investigation had a team that is specially trained to identify, retrieve, and preserve video evidence that helped us get an identification of the offender. Following a tip the day after the shooting, detectives were able to identify O'Neal as the suspect and obtain his location. Area 4 Homicide Investigative Support Team members and 15th District tactical officers quickly began surveillance on this location in Dolton, Illinois. Officers observed O'Neal at that location, at which time an exchange of gunfire ensued. No one was struck by gunfire, and with the assistance of CPD helicopter, members of the Bureau of Counterterrorism, and 5th District officers, O'Neal was placed into custody. I know we recognized just how large of a cross-bureau effort this was, but today I especially want to recognize the investigators who are here on the stage who together worked and went through evidence in a very short amount of time in order to present a strong case that resulted in charges being approved. I also want to thank those who quickly came forward with information after the shooting to help us in our investigation. Anytime we are able to announce charges as quickly as we are able to do today, it means that members of the community stepped up and said enough is enough with the violence that is harming the city we live and work in. We hope that this arrest brings a measure of closure to the victim's family And on behalf of everyone standing here and the entire Chicago Police Department, we pledge to continue working to bring justice to those affected by violence. Thank you.
First of all, I'd also like to recognize the leadership of Deputy Chief Bruno of the Detective Division and Commander Lisa Starks of Area 4. Before I take any questions, or we take any questions, I'd like to acknowledge that today is the first day of testimony in the murder trial of the individual who murdered Chicago police officer Ella French in 2021. The courtroom is packed.
You've been watching a news conference with the police superintendent, Larry Snelling, announcing murder charges against Roderick O'Neill. He is charged in the murder of security guard Lois Wright, shot to death last Friday at the Family Dollar store in Austin.